right. Definitely come on. All right. Peace, peace, peace. We're gonna let the room fill up a little bit. There's a delay in the video, so seems like we're gonna be tested tonight. But yo, go and tell your friends, family members, associates, we get ready to go. Get ready to do the thing. So come on. Selves, right? And of course, if you have any questions, of course, wait till the end and we'll try to get to your question and answers. And so, make sure you write them down, make sure you got them, all right, because this one's going to be a doozy. This is going to be probably one of the most complete documentations slash information. This is actually a continuation from last night, but we don't call it part two because Negroes have a tendency of not watching part 2 or 3 or 4. So we just named it a whole new name so that we can keep it going. Yeah, we learning all the tricks and the trades of YouTube and our people mentality of only being able to watch about 20 minutes worth of information. Even though tonight is going to be more than 20 minutes, all right, because I got a lot of information to share. But we're going to go over at least another 100 slides and then go to the next presentation and then go to the next one. It's going to take about 4 presentations. So hopefully everybody can get that together. Make sure you go back and watch part 1. That was last night, was the live origins. So go back to part 1 and we're gonna go to part 2, which is tonight, which is the origin of the races and extraterrestrial connections. Reason why we're doing it like that, our people have a tendency of not being able to watch more than 20 minutes for whatever reason. I don't understand that, because I know y'all watch more than 20 minutes, when y'all watching, all these other dudes out here. You know what I mean? So I don't understand the problem personally, but hopefully, the mentality will start raising and people be able to watch the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It's funny to me that, when I first seen Tasha K, over a year or so ago, she almost going probably now almost over a year, 2 years. When I first seen her, I knew that she was going to be big on YouTube, but she had that personality. But what I noticed that with her, she has a jingle in front, and at the end, she has a catch saying. So instead of doing, something to that magnitude, of course we do continue now for days, weeks, months, years to come. We do our saying. Now, if y'all need a jingle, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm rapping in the beginning of it because I'm listening to my song as we put on, Blog Talk radio show on Blog Talk we have the show going, and so I'll be rhyming my rhyme part, on there. Either it's burning gates, or either it's the Nagas. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. So those are two of my songs, i.e. the Naga members, Dub and C, double MC, as well as also the God Heru, and the God Kamos. All right, so we have more members in the Nagas, so just get ready. We're gonna have more music, the Nagas, because we are affiliated with the God Fuquana Law from the Grave Diggers, slash formerly Stetsasonic. All right, and he did recently send me a beat, so hopefully you hear me soon on some of the Grave Diggers' new music that's coming out. So we're going to try to do that. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Make sure y'all go to YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, make sure you go to the website, www.dralimellbey.com. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Facebook, hell, even Black Planet. You know what I mean? If you need to, I still got an old account on MySpace. Wherever, whatever it is, any social media, hit me up. We can get into some discussions and talk about some things, whatever the case is. All right. We got our event coming up September the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. That go to our YouTube page. Our last video, we got the information on there. Also go to our Facebook page. You'll see the information on there. But best to go to the website. On the website, we have 21st, 22nd, 23rd of September, and everyone is cordially invited. We're going to be dealing with high science, magic, all right? We're going to be dealing with the occult, esoteric information, metaphysics, science of healing, herbology, iridology, qigong, tai chi, reiki, pranic healing, acupressure, reflexology. We're going to be dealing with everything. So you need to come on out and support a God, you know what I'm saying? Because that's been some of the problems too. We've been putting out all this, and people still don't get this yet. They think this is a competition or debate between, so-called scholars and historians. Nah, we're not even playing that game. We're giving you the information so you can go back and do your own research. This is for self-approval. All right, so make sure you check that out, and we're gonna go to the share screen and get it popping. All right. All right. So let's get it popping, as we were saying. So here it is. You got college professor, and he claims that black people are the all right. Yes. Did because the pure humans was on the planet Earth for hundreds and thousands of years. Go to the final call, Undeniable Truths by Robert Muhammad. And he says, in recent years, it's been shown that the science of molecular genetics, that the DNA of the entire human woman living in Africa 140,000 to 300,000 years ago. Now, we know that is much further back than that. However, we're going to utilize this information and we're going to see where we go with it. This research tells us that any and all human archaeological artifacts found buried in the earth can be dated as 300,000 years or older, or indeed the creation of the original black people of the earth, since, according to the genetic records, only the black man and black woman could have existed at that time. And that's true. But because as we've seen, we went over an article from the Final Call in which that went into the same information I went into about the 2.8 billion years and beyond that Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke of. All races was born from the black race. Everyone alive today descended from an African woman who lived 200,000 years ago or more. Based on the evidence of recent findings, modern and white science has officially declared that all of the present humanity came from one race, the black race, the oldest race. Throughout the world, prominent magazines have done front page articles on the most incredible finds of all time. Scientists have unearthed the ancient bones of a black African pygmy woman who is indisputably the mother of all humanity. They nicknamed her Eve, our common ancestor, a woman who lived 200,000 years ago and left resilient genes that are carried by all of the mankind, reported the best-selling issue ever of Newsweek magazine, 1/11/1988, which depicts a black Adam and Eve on its cover, headlining it, The Search for Adam and Eve. Science magazine 9/11/87 states that the overwhelming evidence shows that Africa was the cradle of modern human. The story the molecular biologist seems to be telling is that the modern humans evolved in Africa about 200,000 years ago. The National Geographic October 1988 reports of new evidence of an African origin for modern humans. So this all correlates to the Out of Africa theory, all right? Which I have no problem with that, you know, because we have found the oldest relics, as we will show, coming from out of Africa, South Africa in particular, all right? And we know that the Bantu people, which has who they're talking about here, that are the perfect, pure humans, right? They are the ones on which that does not have Neanderthal or Denisovans genes, right? Which the Denizen people who allegedly died out, but the genes are carried within the Asians, has 17% of the genetic makeup of the Neanderthals, right? So the Europeans have 2 to 10% Neanderthal genes, and the Asians have 4, or it has, well, excuse me, 4 to, the Europeans have 4 to 10% Neanderthal genes, and the Asians have 2 to 8% Neanderthal genes, and Denisovan genes, right? So here, all right, Europeans are not a primary race, but hybrids between Africans and Asians, according to modern DNA research. Europeans are mostly Asians, all right? That is the Neanderthal portion, and the Denizen, all right? The Denisovan, that is their portion. Europeans are mostly Asians, 1/3 African and 2/3 Asians, right? This is why they call Caucasians, right? This is not from me. This is from scientists, right? Overall contributions from Asia and Africa are estimated to be around 2/3 and 1/3 respectively. Simulations have shown that this hypothesis explains quite well the discrepancy between trees obtained by maximum likelihood and neighbors joining. This is L. Lusa Cavalli Sforza, 1997. This is called Colloquium Paper, Genes, People, and Languages, right? Prague National Academy Science, 94, all right? This is geneticist. She's a geneticist, and this is what she says. So just to keep that in mind as we continue on. So we know that no one was upon planet Earth but so-called black people over 200,000 years ago, at least. So I'm gonna take you back, right? Let's go back millions of years ago, because remember, he told you these books, Forbidden Archaeology, Hidden History of the Human Race, and Strange Artifacts, right? We showed you specifically where it speaks of the fact, right, of the connections, right, going back 2.8 billion years, y'all, right? 2.8 billion years, right? And I'm showing this because this is necessary for everybody can keep up. So here it is, right? These are metallic spheres found in Western Transvaal, South Africa, 2.8 billion years. So the oldest relics have been found in South Africa, 2.8 billion years. So, all right, and here the undeniable truth again. And this is where Robert Muhammad speaks about it even before the article with the which he spoke of the 200, 300,000 year period. That is the reinventive so-called Moors or black people. But here he tells you, he said close to 300 billion years ago, literally billions of years before the Triassic and the Jurassic period of the so-called dinosaurs. He says this, right? We was here. So we know, and here's the sister, 1.5 billion years ago was found. So all of this is before we even get to America. That was in South Africa. The oldest relic that we have found thus far in America is here to the right, which is a metallic or metal vase, right, in Dorchester, Massachusetts. Unknown metal is silver. It says it was a known metal, beautifully inlaid with pure silver, portraying six figures of a quid and a vine or was blown out of large 600 million year old Precambrian rock at Meeting Hill House Hill, Dorchester, Massachusetts, reported in the Scientific American Magazine, Volume 7, page 298, June 5th, 1852, which stated that the carving or carving and inlaying are cleverly and exquisitely done. As you can see here, it is exquisitely done. So then we have 300 million year old footprints, which they have to explain. See, this is far beyond the 200 to 300,000 years ago that Robert Muhammad spoke about, even though he knew about the 2.8 to 3 billion year period of us existing on Earth. This is just us going through the information so that you can get a feel of what is really going on here, because this is undeniable truths that we're talking about, all right? 300 million to 440 million years ago, prints of a man wearing shoes in which that the left foot is trotted on a live 300 million year old trilobite creature along with a child's foot with all 5 toes showing dimly, and other sole or sandal prints found on a 700 millimeter rock face in the House Mountain Range east of the Antelope Spring, Utah, reported in the Mysteries of the Unexplained. See, this is the Mysteries of the Unexplained, New York Digest on Reader's Digest, 1982, page 46. All right. Also, 400 million years ago, shoe print made in Persian County, Nevada, which clearly shows fine seam threads on a shoe embedded inside a rock. So we have footprints, shoe prints in Utah, Nevada. We find metal, silver inlay. Somebody was smelting metal 600 million years ago. 600 million years ago. It says a bell-shaped metallic vessel was blown out of the rock that was about 4 inches high and was carved with exquisite carving covered with exquisite carving indicating the presence of artistic metal worker over 600 million years ago in Dorchester, Massachusetts. So we have footprints in Nevada, footprints in Utah, metal workers in 300 million years to 300 million year period. All right. Rabbi Muhammad even goes in final call on this one. He goes in and says, I'm talking about right now. He talks about it. See, Rabbi Muhammad, he's following it because this is all correlates to what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke about. You know, to what Master Prophet Muhammad spoke about and what Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about. According to a recent United States Geological Survey map of the Boston, Dorchester area, the Pudding Stone, now called the Roxbury conglomerate, is the Precambrian age, over 600 million years old. By standard accounts, life was just beginning to form on this planet during the Precambrian age. We talking about regular life. We just talking about bacteria, viruses. We ain't talking about no damn metal workers. This is what they tell you in science class. But see, we're not in science class. We're in the truth class. All right. This is beyond. All right. This is way beyond. All right. Their information. Right. In fact, the track goes back even further. So we're talking about between 300 to 400 million years. Well, some estimated that it even went back to 600 million years. So here, in 1948, William J. Miser and his family and friends was hunting fossils at Antelope Springs, 43 miles from Delta, Utah. They was breaking open rocks and found many fossils, which dates to 600 to 280 million. All right. When one 2-inch thick slab was broken open, what appears to be a sandal footprint was discovered with 2 trilobites fossils in the step. Other imprints appear to be human tracks. Have also been found in the same area, but without the trilobites smoking gun. Dr. Clifford Burdick investigated the area and found other prints as well as the barefoot imprint of a child's foot complete with toes. The Miser's prints is located at the Creation Evidence Museum. See, this is where they put this type of stuff at, is in museums. Here we have a raised leather-like shape found inside a block of marble from a quarry near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Right, this is 1978, page 657, American Journal of Science, 1831, volume 19, page 361. The block of marble came from a depth of 60 to 70 feet in strata dated 500 to 600 million years old. This is on page 797 in Forbidden Archaeology. Now, see, Baba Ishaka Musa Berashengo, he once said in a lecture, as I knew the brother, he said in the lecture that on the 200,000-year-old African history that he's presented, he said we really will have blow our minds and our brain circuits that if he went and presented the 100-million-year-old history. He's not here to do that, so I'm gonna allow the spirit of Berashengo to move through me if I can get this information out to you All right. And we're not just talking about the 400 million year old history, as I just showed you, but I also showed you 600 million year old history, as well as also 2.8 billion year old history proven. Here's a 400 million year old hammer, according to studies of metallurgical Metallurgical Institute of Columbia. The inside handle underwent the process of carbonization. The head of the hammer was built with an iron purity only achieved with modern day technology. But this was 400 million years ago. According to analysis, the head of the hammer consists of 97 pure iron, 2% chlorine, and 1% sulfur. All right. In 1936 or 34, according to some accounts, Max Haynes and his wife Emma was on walk when they noticed a rock with wood protruded from its core. They decided to take the oddity home and later crack it open with a hammer and a chisel. Ironically, what they found within seemed to have been an archaic hammer of sorts. They turned it over to a team of archaeologists who checked it, and it turned out that the rock encasing the hammer was dated to the Ordovician more than 400 million years ago. All right. Here we have the Kentucky print, and the strata in which that these prints are found are dated to 354 to 290 million years ago. And if these are in fact genuine, the human prints that would predate the scientific community accept the date of modern man by many millions of years. But instead of doing that, guess what they say? They come up with a mainstream theory by Charles Gilmore, who's supposed to be a top paleontologist at the Smithsonian Institute in 1940. And Burroughs suggests that the tracks are of a bipedal amphibian. Now, we've seen a goddamn amphibian with 5 toes like a human being. Never. Goddamn liars. All right. While investigating remains of a meteorite outside of Moscow in 1998, Russian scientists discovered with a screw firmly fitted inside. Geologists stated the age of the rock to be 300 to 320 million years old, older than the existence of dinosaurs. Evidence shows that the iron atom of the screw and the silicon atom of the rock had in fact been spread and fused, suggesting the screw is by no means, all right, a recent addition. Here's an iron cup. This coal deposit of the Oklahoma mines are dated at 312 million years old. All right. Here is a handcrafted bell found in a 300 million year old lump of coal. 1944, a 10-year-old boy, Newton Anderson, dropped a lump of coal in his basement and it broke in half and it hit the floor. When he discovered inside defies explanation based upon current scientific orthodoxy, and it says inside the coal was a handcrafted bronze alloy bell with an iron clapper and sculptured handle. With an analysis was carried out, it was discovered that the bell was made from an unusual mix of metals, discovered different from any known modern alloy production, including copper, zinc, tin, arsenic, and the scene from which the lump of coal was must be 300 million years old. A petrified human skull. Another artifact was on the form of a petrified human cranial broken that was found along with soft organs in Pennsylvania, and again in the Adirondack vein. And it says, according to official geological estimates, the structure of the Adirondack are at minimum of 300 million years old, which means that this man existed on Earth in the Carboniferous period, or possibly even earlier. All right. Here's another footprint, once again with 5 toes. The Zapata track. And what 290 to 248 million years ago, among the tracks was prints of a human foot. Here's the human foot. All right. 300 million years back. Right. Ed Conrad, an amateur archaeologist, finds humanoid fossil skulls in coal beds in Pennsylvania, and he also found leg bone fragments. A human skeleton was found in 300 million year old Silurian rock in Franklin County, Missouri, reported in Ancient Man in Missouri, Scientific American Magazine, September 1880, page 169. So you think you just got here, goddammit, because the Bible told you that a day unto the Lord is 1,000 years. So hence, Adam was made on the 6th day. That's not your creation. I'm showing everything we have been taught about our origin is a lie. And that's a fact. It is also accepted belief that humans and dinosaurs did not coexist. In fact, we are the ones who made the dinosaurs. Right? We was already doing genetic. As I just showed you, we existed before the dinosaurs was even on the planet. 2.8 billion years ago is before the dinosaurs. 600 million years ago was before the dinosaurs. 300 million years ago was before the dinosaurs. God damn it. It is also accepted to believe that humans and dinosaurs did not coexist. According to conventional academia, dinosaurs roamed the earth between 65 to 225 million years ago, whereas the earliest upright biped human only appeared about 1.8 million years ago. That's what they told your ass. But I've proven within 15, 20 minutes, that's a goddamn lie. Human footprints crossing three-toed dinosaur footprints fossilized in the Paluxy Riverbed in Glen Rose, Texas. St. Louis, Missouri, footprints in Permian rock 200 million years ago. Burra, Kentucky, footprints in Pennsylvania rock 200 million years ago. See, I'm taking you through, as I take you through this information, I'm taking you actually through a timeline and showing existed. Nobody has done this for you. 195 million years ago to 160 million years ago, fossilized footprint imprints of a human shoe show in limestone of Triassic period, 160 to 195 million years old, founded by Albert E. Klatt in 1927 near Fisher Canyon in Pershing County, Nevada. A Rockefeller Foundation geologist in New York verified the specimen as definitely Triassic limestone. Micro photographs made of the fossil shown very distinctly that the imprint was that of a well-made piece of leather that had been stitched by hand. My wife grandmother always used to say, I might be old, but I'm not cold, baby. I'm a well piece of leather. I'm an old piece of leather well put together. All right. So at one place, the thread, which was smaller than that used by shoemakers today, was seen to be double stitched. We was rocking the alligators. That's why we was during that time it was called the Dinosaurus shoes. That's why we was following the dinosaurs. That was going to be our shoes. See, that was just like the alligator. See, we rocked the alligators then. All right. So in 1930, Roland T. Byrd, field explorer for the American Museum, reported 15 to 20-inch long, clearly defined human footprints with dinosaur tracks. The human footprints ran next to, under, and over dinosaur footprints. A professor in medicine from the University of Illinois examined the tracks and was convinced that they were genuine. The strides between the human footprints are perfect. actually interviewed Professor Jamie Laga, all right, or Gutierrez Laga. It says, author provided, I examined the professor's high quality replica of the fossils, which he personally excavated in 1999 near Bogota, Colombia. He found in Cretaceous rock dated to around 130 million years old. So here we have fossils, human fossils that they have found in Colombia, South America, y'all, dating back to 130 million years old. And he shows me black and white photographs of himself with the fossils at a real dramatic mountain location. However, after a very frustrating hour, the predictable kink appeared in the story. I asked him what university has confirmed the fossils were 130 million years old and that they were actually human hand bones. The professor replied, when I announced the discovery in 1999, two professors, Dr. Hovind and Dr. Braun, from a historical organization in Texas, appealed to date the stone. They came to Colombia, right? And I signed the fossils over to them, and they still have it. Right? So findings of scientists uncovering dinosaur tracks and unrelated human prints have been verified by similar human dinosaur prints connections in Australia and Turkmenia. All right, this is Moscow News, 1983. So it wasn't just happening in America. This was some worldwide shit. Australia, under the mountains of California, amidst dinosaur bones have been found actually human remains. And amidst dinosaur bones. Famous among these is the Khadirah skull found beneath volcanic rocks at a depth of 132 feet. All right. This is from American Journal of Science, 1866. See, this is stuff. See, these magazines from the 1800s told you all of this information. This is why the book Forbidden Archaeology is so important, and Human History of the Hidden History of the Human Race is so important by Michael Cremo and Richard L. Thompson. Richard L. Thompson is an actual professor, a doctor. All right. So this is why it was very hard for other doctors, you know, in the field of paleontology, archaeology, anthropology, to even try to compete with them as far as debating these subjects. Because I killed them myself, right, with my doctorate of metaphysics. Because this is how we should be doing classes, showing the proof and simply doing timelines to verify this information. This is what we should be doing. All right. Here we have a fossilized human finger. Another similar artifacts that seem just should not exist in the fossilized human finger. The fossil, known simply as DM93-083, dates from a Cretaceous period of about 100 to 110 million years ago. X-rays of the specimen have also been shown. Less dense areas within the finger reveals the presence of marrow within the bone, shown in the slide by the darker area. Okay. Did it with a CAT scan of a human fossilized finger showing dark areas of the interior bones and bone marrow along the tendons. All right, here it is. All right. And human handprint. They have also have the amazing and thoroughly impossible fossilized handprint, which corresponds perfectly to an actual human hand, which was found in limestone in Glen Rose. All right, this is Texas again now. The fossil shows a considerable amount of detail, even the prints of thumbnails. All right. Do you really realize how long it takes for something to fossilize? This fossil quite simply should not exist because the limestone in which this handprint was found has been designated to be from the Middle Cretaceous period, which dates around 110 million years old. Human hands in a 110-year-old fossilized rock of limestone. You getting this? 75 million years ago, right? Right? was some other things taking place, in which that 70 million years ago, it says human skull was found in Cretaceous strata, Gilman, Colorado, reported the Sunday Herald, Iowa City, April the 10th, 1867. 70 million year old fossilized human second lower molar tooth found in 70-year-old, all right, Eocene coal at Billington, Montana on November 1926, in the number 3 Eagle mine at Bear Creek. The Copper County News, Montana, November 11th. Reference also New York Reader's Digest, page 46. All right. Now, you might think, well, what happened to the life? Well, what happened is that there's always destruction, but there are always a few that survive and carry on the life principle. In this case, let's look at here. Xenu, or the nuking of the earth. This is Scientology. It says radioactive dust still in geologic stratus in the area of American Southwest deserts, African deserts, and Gobi deserts. Geologists can't explain the fused green glass that has been found in the sites, all right, at Perilets in Gabon, the Euphrates Valley, the Sahara Desert, the Gobi Desert, Iraq, the Mojave Desert, Scotland, the Old and Middle Kingdom of Egypt, South Central Turkey. For the same time period, this is 75 million years ago now, scientists have found a number of uranium deposits that appears to have been mined and depleted in antiquity. When the research city of Mohenjo-daro in Pakistan was excavated by archaeologists in the late century, they found skeletons just laying in the street, some of them holding hands, as if some great doom had suddenly overtook them. These skeletons are among the most radioactive ever found, on a par with those found in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and that was recent, 1955. Which it was doing ethnic cleansing, because Nagasaki was actually us. We was the Nagas city. We was the inner city of the Nagas, the city of the serpents. Ancient cities with bricks and stone walls had literally been verified. That explanation for the verification for forts and cities, except for, well, check this out now, for an atomic blast. All right. The Lopnor Desert in western China is known to be a center of a great UF mystery, or cantor of the great US mystery. It says scientists drilled down in an excavation near Babylon in Iraq and found various stratas containing evidence of different civilizations. They eventually stopped when they had hit a solid wall of glass, like sand had been fused together by a nuclear blast. Right? So, right? So right here, we know that Dr. Clayton Zawadi Bell said that Africans are the only pure humans. And so we find that a whole new wave of genetic race debates came in May 2010 with the reporting of the initial results of the Neanderthal Genome Project. These points to interbreeding between Neanderthals and modern humans, which has left a genetic legacy between 1 to 4% of Neanderthal autosomal DNA in non-African Eurasians. Blogger Lee John Barnes on far right-wing website 21st century British nationalism sees on this proclaimed new race theory. He states that the fact that modern Europeans are part Neanderthals explains the racial differences. He translated that the 1/4 on 1 through 4% for all Eurasians into moderate Europeans have a minimum of 4% DNA from Neanderthals. Whites who are the descendants of the Cro-Magnon. All right, now the original Cro-Magnon were us. Grimaldi, man. The original Grimaldi and the Cro-Magnon were us. All right. East Asians have 2% DNA from Neanderthal, the Oriental racial group. Black Africans have no DNA from Neanderthals, equals African blacks. It appears that the Australian Aborigines do not have any Neanderthal DNA either. Well, actually, they have a little, all right? Less than 1%, but they also have denisovan, you know, but so they also archaic Homo sapien from Africa, right? And this is despite Project Team member geneticist David Reich saying that all non-Africans, be they from France, China, Papua New Guinea, shares the same amount of Neanderthal DNA, suggesting that interbreeding occurred before these populations split. Genetic evidence also suggests that the Australian Aborigines descended from the first modern humans who left and migrated from Africa. All right. So here's an article, all non-African Neanderthals genetic confirmed. This is by Jennifer Vegas, July the 18th, 2011. All right, so is the world of the lemurs, or the turkeys, the old world monkeys, the gibbons, or the bono, the orangutans, the gorillas, the chimpanzees, and then you have the humanids. Right? This is where you have the primate ancestors, and supposedly there's a mislink in here. Right? We'll get to that in a second. But right now, what we're showing you is that we already been on the planet for hundreds and millions, billions of years. Right? In Gods and the Spacemen in the Ancient West by Raymond Drake, he states that the Pygmies, or the Twa, the Anu, part of the Anu people, inhabited Earth for 30 million years. This is what he says in the book. So here we have the Egyptopithecus, all right, which dates back to 33 million years ago. Now, I'm sorry, but that skull does not look like this skull of the Pygmies who already was on Earth 30 million years ago. This is a ape species. And what it says is that what? Probably the best known of the Proplyopithecines, believed to be an ancestor of the old world monkeys and hominins, first discovered in Egyptian Fayum Depression, 1906. You have the proconsul between 23 million to 14 million years ago, one of the best represented Maceos in the fossil record. See, they are saying that these are hominoids, but yet we had human beings 30 million years ago walking the planet as the Pygmies. Here they keep showing us these hominoids. So knowing here, and I'm gonna get to what is going on. You have the Shivapathicises years ago from the late Mesocean era. And so we find that the genetic evidence for the archaic admixture in Africa. The admixture does not come per se from these particular monkey species that they keep showing us. They claiming to be hominoids. Applied populational likelihoods approach to DNA sequences data gathered from a sample of sub-Saharan Africans found evidence for several introgressive haplotypes, frequencies of which were highest in pygmy population from Central Africa and to lesser degrees hunter-gatherers from Southern Africa. Studies of blood groups, antigens, and AK or ACA pygmies. Samples of 320 ACA pygmies were studied for ABO, Reese's, Kell, Duffy kids, NSSS, Lutherans, and Colton blood group antigens. The result shows that the ACA's pygmies has the blood group characteristics of Black people. Of course, but huh? Wow, I mean, they look like Black people to me. Maybe my glasses ain't working too well. But anyway, wow. The result shows that the ACA pygmies have the blood group of R negative haplotypes and a high proportion of U negative people, a low frequency of K gene. All these results confirms that African pygmies can be considered as a very ancient population from Africa and probably have a common origin with African people. Why is the albion so retarded when this is obvious? Look at them. They show Black people. So-called Black. They show it. Because it is from some of the people that never went out of Africa. It is a blood group that are mainly found in the people from Africa or in few African Americans. What are they talking about? Oh, here it is. Seemed like the things was not something that groups settled the world carry. The U antigen is a high incident antigen occurring in more than 99.9% of the population. The U was originally short for universal. Through this, it is not the case. U negative RBCs can be found in people of African descent. This mutation in red blood surface structure also makes the RBCs S negative and S negative. Anti-Us have been associated with both hemolytic transfusions, reactions, and hemolytic disease of the newborn. U negative is a specific blood type found in 1 out of 250 African Americans. Most Black Americans and all white Americans have one of the most familiar types, which is A, B, AB, or O. When you consider that Black people comprises 12 to 13% of the population of the United States, one of every 2,100 Americans have this rare blood type. For example, the U negative blood type only in Black people. The U negative blood type occurs only in Black people. And so hence the reason why they had to go on and admit that pygmies were Black people. Because in some of the ancient books, well, some of the older books, 1800s, early 1900 books tried to say that the pygmies were white. So here they had to admit that in P.H. Roger and D. Solomon, J. Ruffy and C. Solomon, C.H. Solomon, they had to admit this in this report. All right. Why? Because they had high frequency of this high proportion of U negative bloods. So O negative blood is a mutation from the U negative blood. You get it? So when they say that AB, and O blood type only existed 300,000 up to 200 to 300,000 years ago, they don't talk about the U blood type that existed, as we just seen, at least 30 million years ago, as well as this other blood types that existed before that. See, this is the confusion. You listen to the albions who had this mutated O negative blood type, and they trying to say that they are extraterrestrial. Bullshit. Once again, for example, the U negative blood type said Dr. W. Lawrence Marsh Senior Vice President of the Center. No white people or persons have ever been found to have U negative. No white person have ever been found to have U negative. Like any other, but it doesn't occur very much. And if you need U negative for any person, then you have got to have Black donors. And so the problem for us is to identify Black donors. It makes no sense to screen 100,000 whites for U negative when no U negative white person has ever been found. Controversially, only whites have the blood types Val negative and Land negative. Dr. Marsh say these having a blood type that exists only in a remote village or in one family. See, it's also very important to know the race and ethnicity background of the blood donors and candidates for a blood transfusion. The blood center physicians and blood bank technicians may always be alert to special blood types. Your blood type is inherited just like the color of your eyes and hair. Many blood types, therefore, are found only in specific racial and ethnic groups. For example, this here is a very few of most common blood types in the most often seen rare ethnic category: African American, Blacks, U negative, and Duffy negative. American Indians and Alaskan Native peoples, which is Eskimos, RZ. Pacific Islanders peoples and Asians, JK. AB. Hispanics, D or B negative. Russian Jews, dark, A negative. Whites, KP, B negative. All right, so we see that U negative blood type goes back at least 30 million years, all right, to the Pygmies, the Aka Pygmies, all right? Now that's 30 million years. Now, guess what? Chimp species goes no further back in history than 20 million years ago. So that means that there was so-called Black people on Earth before the apes, chimps, and gorillas, which, remember, they tell you that the chimp has 98% of the same genetic codes as humans. From here, these little men spread it all over the world, north, east, south, and west, until not only Africa, but Europe, Asia, North and South America, and Oceania was populated by them. Them who? He was the first, the little red man out of the earth, from the Pygmies. Evolution continued progressively in the following order. Then you have the Bushmen. All right, so from the Pygmies first, according to the Origin and Evolution of Primitive Man by Albert Churchward. Pygmies were first people on the planet. So at least we know at least 30 million years ago, before the chimp, ape, right, boy, be at least before the ape, right? 20 million years ago, before. Well. Then in the following order, you have the Bushmen, the Masaba, Negro, the now Negro Maasai, which is Kenyans, and then you have the Mongoloids, then the so-called Aryanists, in other words, the Europeans. So yes, the Bushmen dates back, but not more than the Pygmies. We'll get to that. The first men were the little Pygmies. His descendants are still found in many different parts of the world, in South America, China, Malay, New Guinea, and probably other places, but the majority are still living in Africa, where his original home was and is around and near the Great Lakes of the head of the Nile. This is where they claim that they found Lucy. Get the book, The Origin and Evolution of the Freemasonry Connection with the Origin and the Evolution of the Human Race by 30-degree Mason, I might add. He says this first man was the little pygmy. His descendants are still found in the different places in the world, right? South America, China, Malay, New Guinea, and probably other places, but the majority was still living Africa, where the original home is around the Great Lakes at the head of the Nile. And I'm rereading that because it needs to. And it says the Egyptian wisdom registered the fact that the pygmies were the first the earliest human, because the earliest divine man known in their mythology is portrayed as a pygmy. The following is the zoo type. The primitive form of Elder Horus, Heru, was that of Bes. Bes is a figure of a child Horus in the likeness of a pygmy. Here he is. Get the book Hidden Life in Freemasonry. See, all this shit is in Freemasonry. This is why you don't know this information. You haven't been initiated, nor have you done the research in Freemasonry, because the Illuminati got you so spooked at that shit. Oh, that's Illuminati. That's Illuminati. But it's in Freemasonry. The Hidden Life in Freemasonry by C.W. Ledbetter, 33 Degrees, states that the Pygmies race is a relic of the old Lemurians and represent the more Purians were Atlantic people, but in the process of dying out, they diminish in size. The African Bushmen are also remnants of the same race. They are part Pygmies, but they also what is very mixed blood. But with very mixed blood, where they get this mixed blood from? We're gonna find out. And at the same time, it's true of those who are usually called the Australian Aboriginals, except that in their case, there is very admixture of Aryan blood. At one time, the Pygmies were spread out over a great deal more of Africa than at present. Egypt. The reason why the Egyptians have them as the best symbol, which is the earliest man. Signs and Symbols of Primordial Man by Albert Churchward. See, I'm just an Albert Churchward fan. You know what I'm saying? Because in some regards, he dropped that information on you, which we still should be getting this information out today. He states that the Pygmies are the original and the oldest living people on the face of the earth. Once again, he says the Pygmies are the original and the oldest living people on the face of the earth. So if they are the Anu people, hence they come from Anu, the guy from up there. And as we showed you, they went into Asia, hence they went into Mesopotamia. They become what they call the children of Nimrod. They are the children of Nimrod as they go by the Bible. The Nile Negroes were probably one of the first in Anu race that was the first and oldest race of men after the Pygmies. All right? The Anu, misnomer Pygmies, invented much of the early is used in ancient Egypt. Why? Because they was the first people to enter Egypt. By 4000 BC, they probably invented the precursor to the Cuneic form writing of Mesopotamia. Exactly. They did, because they was the children of Nimrod. As they went into Mesopotamia, they went into Babylon. So all of that is 20 million years ago. Found in Kenton, Oklahoma, and north 28 million years ago, the human skull, human skeleton found an extremely hard 28 million year old limestone on the coast of French Caribbean island of Guadeloupe in 1812, belonging to a woman about 5 foot 2 inches tall. The fully human Guadeloupe woman's skeleton is complete in every respect except the feet and the head are missing. It is an authentic discovery which has been in the British Museum for over half a century. Where? In its basement. They can't allow for you to see that shit. When the 2-ton limestone block containing Guadeloupe woman was first put on exhibit in the British Museum in 1812, it was first displayed as proof of the Genesis flood. But this was 28 million years ago. So they were trying to say that, oh, well, that happened then. But hold on, I thought the earth was only 6,000 years. And then I thought the flood soon came after that, after Adam being 6,000, from the 6,000 years of creation. And then he only lived to be 934 years old. And then the flood came with Noah. So that still means that it would only have been maybe 5,100 years oh, excuse me, 5,900 years. Well, no, 5,000 years. When allegedly that the flood story, just Genesis flood, supposedly taking place that wiped out everybody. But this is in 28 million. In 1981, however, the exhibit was quietly taken down to the basement and remained there to this day. My wife and I, when we went to the British Museum back in 2008, we asked the curator, and he wasn't the head curator, but we asked him, and he said that what you see here is only 20%. The other 80% is underneath in the basement. That's what he told us. And we asked, could we go down there and see it? He said, you know, the problem was is that the head curator was not there. So we would have got a chance to go and see this, but this is the information which has been let out. So here, 20 million years ago, recent epoch of geologies begins, ice age ends, and human beings spread to all parts of the world. This is 20 million years ago, but yet they claim that you just got here in human form, in this present Homo sapiens sapien form, 200,000 years ago. But here we talking about 20 million years, 28 million years, 40 million years, 100 million years, 300 million years, 400 million years, 600 million years, 2.8 billion years. You getting this? So, Dr. Javar Khadirah discovered about 40,000 stone tablets called the Ika stone near Oku Cartel's advanced science in the Peruvian desert. All right. Shows details and complex ideas of astronomy, step-by-step heart and kidney transplants. Wow. C-section surgeries, y'all. Genetic disorders and more. This is on 40,000 stone tablets. The descriptions of vehicles that flew through space or in the sky without consuming fuel. They knew about free energy, maybe hydro. Pictures of men riding dinosaurs, depictions of lions drawn in Nazca. They also described the excavation of a large-headed small statue race to a planet of which now would be called the Pleiades star constellation or cluster. The Peruvian state of Ica and city of Ica is only 100 miles from the city of Nazca. Human footprints found in the same layer of dinosaur prints. Oh, we already talked about that, but this was discovered near Tuba City, Arizona. They found fossilized men tracks there too. So Arizona. All right, Nevada, Texas. 12 million to 70 million years ago, they found this iron pot, machine-made metal device discovered in 12 to 70 million year old coal from the Tertiary period, found at the Isidore Bronze of Austria. It says the hardened steel and nickel alloy device was seen to be part of a larger mechanism. Is machined perfectly straight and sharp on four sides with the different size convex with a deep incision all the way around its middle. Reports in Nature, London, November 1886, Paris 1887, and currently held in the Hemedois Museum in Vorlackbrook. So in 1920, at the Thomas Municipal Electric Plant, Thomas, Oklahoma, fireman Frank J. Kenwood found an iron pot. This is the iron pot right here you see to the right, embedded inside coal from Wilburton, Oklahoma. The pot is also on display at Miles Musical Museum in Eureka Springs, Oklahoma. Right, result by M. Leakey and R.L. Hay, Nature, March 22nd, 1979. 12 million year-old skulls of two moderate human children, a mother and a woman, found in undisputable Pleistocene strata of at least 12 million year old in Castanodolo, Italy, discovered in 1860 and reported by A. Keefe, The Iniquity of Man, 1925, page 335 to 340. Have the 8-man facts of fallacy, Bromley Kent, Sovereign Publication, 1981, page 7980. And then Calaveras, California, skull identified as unmistakable human, was found in the middle of a mountain in Pleistocene strata. BWH allegedly discovered of an ancient human skull in California. All right. American Journal of Science, 1866. Fisher Canyon, Nevada, a shoe print with clear traces of strong thread in coal seam, 12 million years old. Gosh, could the discovery of a 9.7 million year old tooth rewrite history? This is the tooth that they're talking about. All right. Lucy died allegedly around 3.18 million years ago, which is now Ethiopia. She has since been basis for understanding the origin of our ancestors and their subsequently migrational pattern throughout the world. Lucy has led us to assume the human origin in Africa and left no earlier than 120,000 years ago. So they told themselves that we was only in Africa 3 million years ago and that we just left 120,000 years ago, which, based on everything that we just talked about, we know is a goddamn lie. But this is Lucy that they talk about. In 1974, Dr. Donald Johanson, paleontologist, discovered the fossil of a woman hominin, Australoidopithecus, which is actually should be Africanoidopithecus if they're going to say this shit, right? Because it was in Ethiopia, not in Australia. The arrogance, known as Lucy, in the Afar Triangle region of Hadar, Ethiopia, 8 to 3.2 million years ago. So 3 million years ago, we find Lucy, 40% complete Australoidopithecus afrensis skeleton discovered in 1974, right? As you've seen, this is by Dr. Donald Johanson, but he worked for the International Fall Research Expedition, and this is said to be the oldest hominin fossil yet found in South Africa, right? Hominin origin and evolution in actually is East Africa, all right? But this is what they found. And then you have, of course, you have 2.4 million years ago, you have the Homo habilis, and then 2 million years ago, you have the Homo erectus, all right? Excuse me, you know what I'm saying? So this is what they claiming, but yet 1.7 or 175,000 years ago, there was now these are ape species that they keep talking about, ape-like men, ape-like people, women, in which that they keep talking about, that they keep finding, which has no, and they have basic knowledge. They have this information here, this type of knowledge, in which that we find on a actual bridge, a man-made bridge found 1.7 million years ago. Washington, NASA shuttle has imaged a mysterious ancient bridge between India and Sri Lanka, as mentioned in the Ramayana. The evidence, say expert, matter of factly is the digital image collection. The recent discovery bridge currently named Adams Bridge, coal chain of shoal 30 kilometers long in the Plaque Strait between India and Sri Lanka remains a mystery behind it. The picture and composition really reveals that it is man-made. Legends or well as archaeological studies reveals that the first signs of human inhabitation in Sri Lanka dates back to the primitive age about 1.75 million years ago. And the bridge age is almost equivalent. All right, now understand everything I'm telling you is all before the European even got on the planet Earth. Right? So this is Dr. Ben's book, Mother of Western Civilization by Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakinen. And me and mother was talking about this, and we were talking about that the Charles Darwin's theory that we came from monkeys, or as they would say, we share a common ancestor with primates. That's what they're saying now. So Dr. Ben speaks about all of this in here and all these particular discoveries, all right? And it says here, man's intermediary link to an ape-like ancestor, all right? Ape-like ancestor. And this is what he's saying now. At this conjunction, it must be noted that Sir Charles Darwin had used the term ape-like ancestors and not an ape, as so many of his religious detractors have stated since his proclamation. The confusion, as well as the prosecution of all paleontologists and their associates by members of the clergy or their three faith labeled Western religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, continues to this very day. However, the collection of human fossils accumulation beyond imagination. A few are chronologically listed as follows according to their dates of discovery. This is a partial chronology of fossil finds according to the dates. 1864, a fossil head was discovered and displayed before the British Museum Associate. It was also identical with that of the Neanderthal, yet it was discovered in England. 1866, at the Norlet, not very far from the city of Liege in Belgium, a lower jaw of much more ancient primitive appearances than Neanderthal was discovered in the excavated cave. 1866, in a cave at Spy, very near to Namur, two Belgian geologists, Deprot and Lohis, discovered the skeleton remains of 3 men. 2 of these skulls were almost intact, including some of their limb bones. The human remains were also mixed. All right. So, a partial chronicle listing, a chronicle listing dated to fossils. You all right? And as you see, Dr. Ben has 1 through 30. He goes to at least 30 of them. You have the Paranthropus Frosty. This is Egypt, 1910, unearthed by Max Scherlester. African ape of more than 35 million years. An African ape, y'all. All right. Plethyssus, Hexachilil. It says Egypt, 1910, unearthed by Max Scherlester. And it says an African ape found at Fayum, bigger than the Paranthropus fossils and related. You have the Homo capricis, which is called the basket man, right? And this is from South Africa, which is called originally Monomotapa, right? Monomotapa. This is 1913. That was the original name of South Africa. Oladuwe skull unearthed in Tanzania, Tanganyika, East Africa, 1914. You have the Homo Zambian incisius, which is unearthed, basically what is renamed, misnomer, or renamed Rhodesian, Rhodesius, unearthed in Zambia, East Africa, all right, in 1921. You You have the Africanopithecine, which is misnamed Australopithecine africanus, all right, which is unearthed in Botswana, Mononopotapa, which is South Africa, 1924. All right, and you have all of these now. You have the Wiley's Capj skull or skeletons unearthed in Kenya, East Africa, 1927. So all of these are the ones in which that Dr. Ben got a chance to hear about during the time of the writing of his book, Africa, the Mother of Western Civilization, right? You have the intimate Tirita, which is on Earth, Kenya, East Africa, 1927. You have the Park's epic skull remains. You have 1928. You have the oscillar skeleton, Western Sudan, Gamble's cave skeleton, Kenya, 1918, 1929. You have the proconsul, which we talked about earlier. You have the Homo Camencia, 1932. You have the Khadirah skull, 1932. You have the Homo shell mound skull, Kenya, 1932. You had the Rapha skull, Morocco, 1933. You have the African Anthropus in Tanzania, 1936. You had the African Lopithecus, Zulu Lensius, which is unearthed in the Zulu Nation in South Africa, 1936. You have the Plessian Theropus, right, which is found in 1936. You have the Paraanthropus robustus, 1938. All right, you have the Tanger skull fragments, 1939. You have the Magnatheropus, 48. You have the Paratheropus, 1948. You have the Telantheropus, 1949. You have the Atlantanthropus, 1955, 1956. You have the Injatheropus, all right. You have the pre-Zangeropus, Anthropus. You have the Selenian man. You have the Hethias, Canthropin skulls of the Aquiline industry. This is what Dr. Ben is speaking of, and which that was found, but we know that this is all part of Charles Darwin. And Darwin, right? He states the origin of species was the origin of species by means of the natural selection of preservation of favored race and struggles for life. See, they don't never tell you that part. Preservation of favored races in the struggle of life. And this is what he says. Never consider the less civilized races to be authentically human. Well, guess what? The only real human are those so-called less civilized races that he speaks of. While he himself is a hybrid and has 4 to 10% Neanderthal, which is an ape-like man species. How did we get these apes upon this planet? I'm gonna show you. Theories on prehistory and early man consistently changes as new evidence comes to light. This is Louis B. Leakey, who leaked it out in the 1950s that the original men were the black man. British paleontologists. All right, this is the Australoid Pithecis afrensis, all right, displayed at the Museum of Man, San Diego, California. Also Lucy skeleton reconstruction in the center here and all of that. This is what it looks like. This is likely the Australopithecus, which is actually the African Pithecis, as Dr. Ben called it, likely was the ancient ancestor of the chimpanzees. While the para or the paw Anthropoid likely that, right? Keep this in mind. The osses and the Anthropus, right? Chimpanzee, gorilla, right? There was a mixing between them in which that produced, all right, what we now refer to as, quote unquote, the orangutan. But we'll get to that in a second. The monkey species dated back no further than 40 million years ago, coming from the species in which that we was going to show and talk about, in which that was dealing with the lemurs. The first true primates evolved by 55 million years ago or a bit earlier, nearing the beginning of the Eocene age or epoch. The fossils have been found in Europe and Asia. They look differently from the primates today. They are still somewhat squirrel-like in size and appearance, but apparently they grasp hands and feet were also increasing more efficiently to manipulate objects and climbing trees. All right, so among the new primate species, so the primate species came from a squirrel, squirrel-like in size and appearance. Who did that shit? Well, remember I showed you that the gods, the elder gods, was already on planet Earth before the dinosaurs. So hence the dinosaurs had to be made by them. Thus also these primate species had to be made by who? 55 million years ago. I showed you that we was 8 billion years ago making shit. So this is what we find out. All right, keep this in mind. We're gonna keep going now. We're gonna get it. So they lived in North America, Europe, Africa, and Asia. All right, these lemurs, as they begin to start referring to them as lemur-like family. Right. So from the lemurs and the lorises, and you have the Tarsiers, and you have the new world monkeys, the old world monkeys, right? The Bobono, which is also the gibbons, related there, because the bonos is more so related with the chimpanzee. Actually, that's the good ones. And they have the orangutans, the gorillas, the bonos, and the chimpanzee and the hominids, right? These are the primate ancestors. And they tell you that the lemurs came from a squirrel-like squirrel. So a squirrel, wow. Squirrel-like, anyway. Squirrel, maybe squirrely, right? So here, the monkey species date back no further than 40 million years in this form here, what we refer to as a spider monkey. The great apes are humanized monkeys. I'm gonna say that again. The great apes are humanized monkeys. Engineered human DNA into this, which is this black-headed spider monkey from South America, and you'll get and create the tailless humanized chimpanzee or bonobo. Bonono, all right? Which, and the proof of this is the Deloid ape. Spider monkey man didn't have a tail and resembles an orangutan, which roamed in Asia. So this is genetic manipulation that was going on. Reverse engineering. Cross DNA from to the resemblance and difference between man and the closest of his living relatives, and the 4 great apes are shown in the drawings and the tablets below. The sketches of the body has been drawn to the skeleton has been depicted here with obscured comparison of the contour of the head and the body. The gibbons, the orangutan, chimpanzee, gorilla, man. Even more compelling and defeatable are the immense physical gaps between humans and every other higher primate. Now, not just chimpanzee, because in 1911, then famous British anthropologist Sir Arthur Keith quantized quantize all of the anatomical characteristic that sets a species of ape apart from the other. He found that the gorilla has 75 unique physiological attributes. Chimpanzees has 109, orangutans 113, gibbons 116, and humans 312. That is nearly 200 to 300 between the comparison as you see here. Thus, humans has an array of traits that are 3 times more distinctive than higher primates. This is surprising because the evolutionists so loudly trumpet their humans and chimp share 98% the same DNA, proving that the human evolution is not straight line, but in fact is very twisted bush, complete with interbreeding and retrobreeding. This is how we get the people upon planet Earth. Comparison between human and chimpanzee DNA, December the 23rd, 2010. It says most people are familiar with the claim that humans and chimpanzees have about 99% similarities. Our assertion, however, is that the genetic commonalities between the two primates is closer to 90%. Right? But they keep telling you it's 98 to 99%. They'll say that. Here it is. December the 22nd, 2010, article comes out, says chimpanzee Y chromosomes identifies nothing common with humans. Y chromosome, that's the male chromosome. That means that the tampering happened with the female chromosome, the mitochondrial DNA, not with the male chromosome. Because guess what? There's nothing in common with humans with the Y chromosome. Since the chimpanzee Y chromosome has been fully sequenced by geneticists and primatologists, the results did not appear to support a common human ancestry between humans and chimpanzees. Analysis of the chimpanzee's Y chromosome confirms that it is radically different from the human Y chromosome. The chimpanzee's Y chromosome has only 2/3 the number of the distinct genes in the gene family and 47% of the proteins coded regions when compared to the primate human counterpart. Furthermore, more than 30% of the entire chimpanzee's Y chromosome has no counterpart in human beings. 30%. The segment that do have counterpart in the human Y chromosome are also located in different regions of the chimpanzee chromosome. According to a head lead researcher, it appears like there has been a dramatic reinvention and renovation of the chimpanzee and the human Y chromosome lineages. This is what they're saying. All right, this comes from the new answer book to by Kent Ham, 3 Views of Creation and Evolution by J.P. Moreland, John Mark Reynolds, The Collapse of Evolution by Scott M. Hughes, and Panorama of Creation by Carl E. Braun, PhD. Why do men believe evolution? So we see that the chimpanzee has A blood type, gorillas have B blood type. Well, guess what? The orangutan is the only one that has AB blood type, meaning that there hasn't been a cross between the chimpanzee and the gorilla. That if the theories of evolution was true, then these are millions of years. We have millions of these, right? But then in between, none. Millions of these we have. So we are the millions of these. Well, we know that evolution. My man Jason Forrest, he put that joint up right there. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna get into it, but he put on his psych lies exactly. Because everything you know is wrong. Book 1, Human Origins. Professor Laura Pye states that the transition would have taken 20 to 30 changes, and this happened overnight. So who in the hell did this overnight shit? Who did the USPS, United States Postal Service, overnight? Because everything you know is wrong. Professor Laura Pye, here he is, and he says, let's imagine a rat equals a postal stamp as far as the activation of the cerebral cortex. Monkey, a postal card. Chimpanzee, 1 sheet, type in paper. Humans equals 4 sheets, type in papers. But guess what? Only half of 1 sheet is being used. Wow. So he goes on and says as macroevolution place. In other words, a cat did not become a dog did not become a horse did not become a giraffe. None of that shit existed. There is no macro evolution. It's never taken place, never taken place. He said what it is adaptation, which is microevolution, the simple modification of size and shape of a beak, but not the changing from gills to wings. And from that matter, even the change of a bacterium. Bacteria mutates, but they do not alter from being a parasite to find food for themselves. They remain essentially the same for billions of years. So how do we keep getting these habilis and of skills? He created stone tools. Wow. When I showed you that smelting metal, we was doing that shit 2.8 billion years ago. All of a sudden you find all of these Homo habilis, Homo erectus, upright human being. He's upright, god damn it. First hominid to migrate and leave Africa for Europe and Asia. He was the first Homo erectus 1.6 million years ago, 30,000 years ago, or 32,000 years ago now, because that's BCE. So you have the Homo heidelbergensis, which is, this is who they claim that some of the Africans mixed in with, which dates back to 600 million years, 600,000 years old. Then you have the Homo Neanderthal, 200,000, 300,000 years ago. This is where he comes from when they keep talking about the man that was produced 200,000, 300,000 years ago. That's talking about the Neanderthal. Not the pure man that we showed you dating back to 2.8 billion years ago. Then you have the Cro-Magnon, 10,000 or 4,500 years ago. We love talking about that. So here it is, the 200,000 BCE to 10,000 BCE. You have the Homo sapien, the wise human being, which split in two, Neanderthals and the Cro-Magnon. Here it is right here. They will tell you about the Hillenberg Genesis. Cro-Magnon, Homo sapiens sapien, wise human, wise human, right? We find that the RH stands for rhesus monkey factor. The rhesus is a very small monkey from India and miraculously has managed to get his little DNA directly into 93% of all living humans on planet Earth. How did he do that? Well, let's see. Let's see. See, once again, you have to go to a secret society to get the answers, because you're not going to be taught this in public school. You have to go to the private side. The apes were produced by man himself. The apes were produced by man himself. The apes were produced by man himself. This is Daily Theosophical or Theosophy quotes, Sunday 1st, September 2013. The burning question of the anthropoid apes are related to man is settled by the masters of wisdom, who say that instead of those being our progenitors, they were produced by man himself. In one of the early periods of the globe, the men of the time begat from large females of the animal kingdom, the anthropoids, and in anthropoid bodies was caught a certain number of egos destined one day to be men. The remainders of the descendants of those of the true anthropoid illegitimate children of men who died away gradually, the egos entered human bodies. Those half apes and half men bodies could not be ensouled by strictly animal egos. For this reason, they are known to the secret doctrine that no more egos from the lower kingdoms will come into the human kingdom until the next Manvar Torah. But to all kingdoms below man, except the anthropoid, the door is now closed for entrance into the human stage. And the egos in the subordinate forms will all wait their turn in all right, in the end. And they will emerge in the man stage later on. They will thus be rewarded for the long wait in this degraded race. All the other monkeys are products in the ordinary manner of evolutionary process. On this subject, I cannot do better than quote the words of one of those masters of wisdom, given the esoteric anthropology from the secret volume. Thus, the anatomical resemblance between man and the higher apes, so frequently cited by Darwinists, or pointed to some former ancestor common to both, presents an interesting problem, the proper solution to which is to be sought for in the esoteric explanation of the genesis of the Piscean stock. We have given it so far as was useful by stating that the primitive mindless races resulted in the production of huge man-like creatures or monsters, the offsprings of human and animal parents. We had to say bestiality. At times rolled on, and the still semi-astral forms consolidated into the physical, the descendants of these creatures was modified by external conditions. Who modified them? The gods. And what they mean by modified is about genetic tampering, modification, manipulation by external forces until the breed dwelling in size accumulated into the lower animals of the Mesolcene period, when the later Atlanteans, or the Egyptians, who was formerly the Lemurians, renewed the sins of the mindless, this time with full responsibility. The resultants of their crimes were the species now known as the anthropoids. Let us remember the esoteric teaching which tell us of man has had in the third round a gigantic ape-like form on the astral plane. This gigantic ape-like form is Gigantopithecus, which is nothing more than what we refer to today as the Sasquatch or Bigfoot. And similarly, at the close of the third race in the round, thus it accounts for human features of the apes, especially of the later anthropoids, apart from the fact that they're later preserved by heredity, a resemblance to their Atlantean Lemurian sires. So the Atlantean Lemurians are the ones who sired them, hence the Egyptians, Kemites, Temerians. They sired these ape-like men, creatures, now called chimpanzee, monkeys, well, chimpanzees, bonobo, the orangutan. We did that shit. All right, only Bilal Muhammad told you that. So all of these Australopithecus, robust, and the Synjanthropus, and the Homo habilis, and the Homo randolphus, hendicis, and the the Homo ergatastis, and the Homo erectus. All of that is talking about these creatures that we just made mention of them tampering. All right, genetic tampering. All right, here we have 1.7 million years ago stone tools made in the Odovi Gorge in Tanzania. All right, 600,000 years ago, we have Homo sapien skulls, Neanderthal skulls, African nomads, African revisited, all of that. But we find that so not only are Europeans closer to Asia, but Europeans are closer to Neanderthals than Africans are. Ancient DNA in humans is due to species interbreeding after man left Africa. So not only do you have genetic tampering, manipulation with the ape species, but you also have genetic interbreeding. So all of this accounts to the cross backing and the reverse engineering and all of this good shit, or bad shit. Breeding with Neanderthals had long been known to have left its traces in DNA of modern Europeans. Remember, 4 to 10%, right? 2 to 8% for the Orientals. and the other percentage would be that of the denizen. Now scientists in Edinburgh has similarities arise after interbreeding with in Europe and Asia. They believe 2% of the Neanderthal today. And it's more than that, because see, at first they were saying 2%, then it went to 4%. Now we know it's 8 to 10%. It's going to keep going up, obviously. Right? This is part of an engine, a Vernet engine, in which that dates back to, in which they found in California, dates back over 500,000 years ago. So who the hell was forming and making engines? Remember now, it could have been these ape species that they're talking about. Homo erectus. They found 500,000 years ago rock hounds found in geodes in western U.S. desert. Inside is a device that looks like a capacitor or spark plug, and that's exactly what it looks like. The age was unofficial, but it dates at 500,000 years ago. This is called the Poso artifacts. The object inside the stone seemed to have been a white porcelain with the center shaft shiny metal and a hexagonal cast. X-rays revealed a tiny spring at the end. Experts estimate that it should have been around 500,000 years old, or years from a fossil encrusted nodule to form. That's how long it would have took. Right? Then you have the Sumerian star maps. All right, of the Sumerian deities, the Anunnakis. All right, years ago, old Denisovan ancestors. This is who we're talking about. This is part of the Asian ancestors as well as Aborigines ancestors, along also in the Pacific. 400-year-old Denisovan ancestors bone found in Cima de los Jesus cave in the Spanish Atapure Purica mountains. The cave hosts more than 6,000 ancient bone samples belonging to 28 ancient humans that lived roughly 400,000 years ago. The bones of the Semitic people share the features of Neanderthals. Why? Because Denisovan people had 17% same genetics of Neanderthals. So think about it. So here you have more than 17 to 30% of Neanderthal from the Denisovan. And then you have now less than 10%, all right, or 10 and less percentage for the masses of the people on the planet now from the Neanderthal. How did that happen? All right. Obviously, these ape-like creatures that they kept producing kept dying off, or they killed them. And this is the reason why they are not found in the records, and the species between the chimps and the humans, and they keep looking for a missing link. But the only real missing link is that 30 million year old little man known as the Twa. Misnomer, the pygmy. Even before them, the Bantu people, who has no trace elements of Neanderthal or Hillenburg Genesis, have none of the DNA of none of these three, meaning that they existed before the 600,000 years ago. Right? The pygmies, because they have spread it out into the world, you can test the pygmies and you will find that they have some aspects of what is called now the Homo Hillenburg Genesis DNA in Africa there. right? But not of the Neanderthal and not of the Denisovan, right? And so from those mix, you have the original Australians, the original Asians, the original people of Latin descent, the original Filipinos, the original Indians, and the original people of India, right? And the original people of Africa, the original people all over the world. There are 612 primate species and subspecies recognized by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and not one has Rh negative blood. All right. And I'm going to show you the reason why for that. The Europeans claim that it's because they're extraterrestrial. Bullshit. And I'll show you. African Americans, Y chromosome sparks a shift in evolutionary tablets, or time tablets. It says the father of all men is 340,000 years old. Right? This is a man from out of South Carolina. And then, of course, the other report claims that in the search for Adam and Eve, the woman DNA dates back over 200,000, 300,000 years ago. We already showed you that that same time period is talking about when, according to Zachariah Ascension, you had the Anunnakis who was doing genetic tampering on these individuals later on. But there was already genetic tampering done over the 30 million years and before that, as I showed you earlier. As I showed you that the dinosaurs was made by us, proving that we existed before the dinosaurs, so they had to have been created and made by us. Hence the reason why we was able to kill them off. All right? Majorly 65 million years ago. And they just died and disappeared. That means the reptilians, which descended from the dinosaurs, all right, because they actually are the dinosaur in human form. They've been humanized. This is the reason why they can mix in, because they was created by the gods too. Oh shit! Now be getting it. Be getting it. Black genes prove that the first humans are at least 70 million percent, 70% older than previously estimated. Excuse me. All right. Atlantic Black Star, and it says after one African man, all right, Albert Perry, passed away, researchers discovered a unique, distinct Y chromosome. So here it is. This Y chromosome definitely didn't have anything to do with the chromosome of a chimpanzee, which, as we showed you, had nothing to do. The Y chromosome had nothing to do from the chimpanzee. So that means that the chimpanzee Y chromosome was never used in the process of genetic manipulation. It was the female X chromosome that was utilized because the woman is the one who carries the mitochondrial DNA. Perry had a older, as you see here, dates back to 140,000 to 338,000. All right. It says their origin pushed the dawn of humanity back from 140,000 to 338,000 years ago, and 70% earlier than previously estimated, according to the studies. All right. So we, of course, we know that that goes even further back. We even found that Illinois State's Geological Survey that the deposit contains coins are between this coin was between 200,000 to 400,000 years old. So they found the coin. Who the hell would have to use a coin? This here is a ship that they found under the water. It looks like the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars and shit. But guess what? It's over 140,000 years old. Same time that they talking about humanity being pushed back 140,000 years, we find a ship in which that was created either for water expedition or for above expedition. All right, so right here, myths or facts from Zachariah Ascension. You ain't got the 12th planet, the Stairway to Heaven, the Wars of Gods and Men, the Lost Realms, When Time Began, Genesis Revealed, Divine Encounters, or the Cosmic Code. You need to get that shit. You tripping. I don't agree with everything he says, but he give you something in which that you can utilize. So the text here confirms that the elder gods or the Anunnakians, not the ancient gods, the ones that we talked about was the ancient gods who made the dinosaurs and so forth and so on. The Anunnakis just got here like around 300,000 years ago, were in fact not the first gods, as all right. And that a race or races known as the ancient ones predated the arrival of the elder gods. Remember who was that? You. You are the gods. All right. The Anun, and you are also the Anunnakian. The ancient ones has come from the stars many eons earlier and established an extremely advanced culture. The Anunnakians, remember, the Anu people or the Twa people. All right. So that means whoever came 300,000 years ago looked like them. Melanated. Not this white boy that they keep showing you, this pale one that they love keep showing you, talking about the Anton Ashtar command and shit. All that bullshit. Right? Even the word Anunnaki, all right, means, all right, Anu means up there in the sky, the sun. Naki means serpent, the sun serpent. It's about the Kundalini, all right? When this Kundalini was there at the third eye, which gave you high intelligence as you absorb more energy, you had a higher IQ, for you was able to do all these types of things as far as genetics and so forth and so on. Made you more analytical, all right? Although initially accepted and very technically advanced themselves, subsequently caused immense problems and a war broke out. It seems this was no small battle indeed. It changed the entire face of the earth and irrevocably altered the course of life thereon. The text goes on to say that the elder gods or the Anunnaki produce so-called man, right? Which we know that artificially means of genetic manipulation. But that began to start happening around 300,000 BC. Then you have the Neanderthal, right? The Adamu, that's right. So from the Homo erectus, which we used 300,000 years ago, which is the byproduct of us, and the species in which that we talked about earlier, coming from the apes to create the ape-like species, to now the Neanderthal, the Adamu, Adam. This is the Adam that they keep talking about. Goes back to here, right? And then you have the great difference. Nature means of the sexual mating in which that took place. You know, then you get the Cro-Magnon man, the demigods, that becomes us humans, Homo sapiens. Then you have the Homo sapiens sapiens. Lord Pi says this, that human erectors, you have micro evolution, slight change, 300,000 BC Neanderthals, drastic upgrade, genetic manipulation. You have the Cro-Magnon Adamu, right? Made it with Anunnakian, right? To produce the demigods, right? Who made it hominoids, wild Cro-Magnons, and or manufactured Cro-Magnon to produce what we now call the Gromalian man or the Homo sapiens sapien. Now, I agree with Lord Pi, all right? Because there's an archaeological fact that there is more than 200 known sunken cities in the Meridian, or Mediterranean. Egyptian civilizations, along with that of the Minoans and the Mycenaean in Crete and Greece, are in theory remnants of this great ancient culture. I'm showing you this because Lost Cities of Atlantis, Ancient Europe, and the Mediterranean by David Hatcher McRitchie. And these cities was built, all right, thousands and thousands of years ago. Here we have South Africa had a symbol dating back 200,000 years ago also. Here's ancient Anunnaki cities of Africa 200,000 years ago. And their temples equals templates, giant energy circuits, motherboards, more than 10 million ruins in Africa, in particular in South Africa. All right. So this is what they want us to believe, is that 130,000 years ago or 140,000 years ago, man came from out the interior of Africa and started beginning to spread across Africa. He went up into Europe around 35,000 years ago. And then, of course, into India around 50,000 years ago, down into Australia, 50,000. Now, I don't know how you get um, to India 50,000 years ago, but then just get to Australia 40,000 years ago is beyond me. Uh, this is the stupidity. Then you have us coming across the Bering Strait 25 to 20,000 years ago. This is when they said that the Native Americans came in, the people of the world from Africa. Then, of course, came down into Central Africa 15,000 years ago. Then, of course, into South America 17,000 to 13,000 years ago. All that is bullshit. All that is BS. All right? All that is BS. Here we have ships that we know that we manned. I showed you the ship for 140,000 years ago. Here's ships that we have that we manned in Egypt, who were, the Egyptians were the ancient Lemurians / Atlanteans. We have things in the Nevada desert, military base Area 51, right, in which that has this information there. They have items, but we're going to stick with our information. I won't get into that. That's another video. But here we have the bird of Egypt, in which that they actually tested, in which that they found actually could fly. And so they said, no, this wasn't a replica of a bird. This actually was a replica of an actual plane. It was 13,000 years ago. You have Indian country of Rama existed, which is the remains of their largest city, still exists in the desert of India and Pakistan, all right, in which that, you know, talks about what is called the Brahmanas or the Astros, right? The Brahmanas or Astros. Astro come from Astral, which is talking about the flying machines of the ancients. All right, you can get the book David Hatcher Childress, and he speaks of the Brahmana, which is the flying machines, right? And here's what it says. It says in Sutra, it says, one described for us the nature of a Brahmana. It says, on the similarity of speed with the birds, it is called the Brahmana. The Brahmana is a vehicle that flies in the sky with speeds comparable with birds. That which can fly in the sky with equal speeds to that of the bird is called the Brahmana. That which can fly on earth or on water through air by its own power like a bird is the Brahmana. That which can fly through the air from one place to another is a Brahmana. That which can fly through the air from one country to another country, from the island to another island, from one world to another world is a Brahmana. Right? So here you have the Kambaya artifacts, some of the most famous artifacts found in Colombia, dozens of little gold items, which was left by the Kambaya people. But the most mysterious of all is that is little mini airplane. Many believe that this little figurine is proof that the tribe had mastered flight, or at least knew about it, that it could be done. Here we have ancient world astronauts, aircrafts. Extraterrestrial. These are artifacts found by Jalisco, Mexico, 2017. Ancient alien discoveries. So shapeshifters are not equivalent to reptilians, because we've heard of shapeshifters being able to turn into wolves, birds, all types of animals. So the reptilian is not just the only one, but it is one of the most important ones as far as being able to determine that this is real. There are many different species, races, and life forms involved and activated in the deception of humanity using the holographic cloaking, masking technology. So far, we could confirm the involvement of 8 species, 1 artificial intelligence and 1 artificial biological life form. You have these are the reptilians, the insectoids, the arachnoids, the crustaceous crabs, the feline cats and wolves, androids, artificial humans, clones, organic portals, You have the fish toys, the amphibians, and the carians, which are the birds, right? There's three different categories of shapeshifters. You have the physical entities, you have the non-physical entities, right? And you have the non-physical entities attached to physical entities, possession, right? These are the three forms of shapeshifters. Hybrids or crossbreeds between pure breeds of several different species in Earth humans. Different species in Earth humans. So hybrids, the European is a hybrid, right? Orientals are hybrids because they was mixing with the Denisovan as well as also the Neanderthals. So these are the several different species, but even more, there's even more animal byproducts in which that people was mixed in with. They appear completely human with one difference. They have different eyes, use holographic technology to hide this. All right. They also, their emotions are they have no empathy, no remorse, and they have no contempt. You know what I'm saying? There's several movies that nearly documents describe the situation on Earth. You have the Matrix trilogy, Dark City, The Island of Monroe, They Live. All right. If you don't know who that is John Carpenter, who made the movie They Live, We Die, which is 1988 American sci-fi joint. Dark City, and you have John Murdoch seeks to unravel the twisted riddle of his identity as he edges closer to solving the mystery. He stumbles upon a fiendish underworld controlled by a group of ominous beings collectively known as the Strangers. As most of you have stumbled beyond or upon. Here we have Ronnie Piper right before they killed him, and right after he was on, right before he was on Alex Jones' show, he texted or tweeted rather, "They Live" as a documentary. Right? So you know about the reptilian portion of the brain. All right, that is where this reptile energy happens. You can get the book, The Biggest Secret. David Icke, he goes into that. All right. You have Arizona Wilder on shapeshifting reptilians. She speaks. Wilder states that the blood and the menstrual blood is imperative for reptilians to shapeshift. The blood helps them to maintain the reptilian shape while helping them to live in the world they're not from. Well, they actually are from here and they live under the ground. All right. They are earthlings. And I showed you and told you about the fact that we made them. All right. There was the essence of the reptilians in which that was made and mixed with our genes. All right. With the God's genes, with the God genes. Right. They may help to explain the vast number of children abductions throughout the years. According to Wilder, there are changes going on in the earth that seems they're not able to hold their shape like they once were able to. And people see them shape shifting. All right. Even the granddaughter of Dwight Eisenhower speaks of the reptilian invasion has already occurred. Laura. All right. Michael Jackson tried to warn you. He showed you this shit in Thriller with the eyes. Here's a female who was actually in a porno flick. And if you notice, look at her eyes, looking just like Michael Jackson's eyes. All right, Michael Jackson knew some shit. All right, he was able to see the shapeshifters. That's why he called Tony Mottola a devil. All right, these entertainers, lower astral entities, they have possessions. All right, from the first and second overtone layer of the level of the astral plane, may have said, which people say they're demons. I don't like to use the term demon because that come from Timon, which is a form of Atum. In other words, entities, spirits that have their own agenda that they can attach themselves to a person's auric field, especially from the first and second chakra. So this is why they have to get you on drugs, keep you induced, keep you into the sex thing. You know what I'm saying? Keep your mind trapped into that. The first and second chakra are controlled by the reptilian portions of the brain, which is the oldest portion, brain portion, but deals specifically with fight or flight survival mechanisms. All right. Now, survival in fight or flight can be positive and negative. However, in this case, these entity spirits attach themselves to aspects of the lower self. The lower self is taught by us by Prophet Noble Ali, questionnaire 101, 66 states that what is the devil sometimes called? The lower self. All right. 74, what does the lower self breathe? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. In other words, possession by entities, spirits to the lower chakras give an individual the propensity to do evil, promote death, the opposite of life, or live. So the old folks say the eyes are the windows to the soul. Has the truest meaning when dealing with these individuals because their eyes changes to slits based on the reptilian brain activity. All right. That's what happens. All right. Practically speaking, everyone you see in media, in mainstream media, is a reptilian shapeshifter. News people, politicians, actors, musicians, professional athletes, entertainers of every kind at the lower level, brotherhood agents populate forums and other social sites to monitor and guide public opinions, discussions, pretending to be regular people like you. All right, you can call them the demiurge or the archons. All right, mind parasites. All right, Ephesians 2:1-3, and you were dead in the trespasses and sins in which you once walked. Follow the course of this world. Follow the prince of the power of the air. Because that's what happened. You follow the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience, among whom we all once lived in the passions of our flesh, carried out the desires of the body and the mind, and we're by nature children of wrath like the rest of humanity. So the prince of the power of air, that is the demiurge. This is how you get overcast, overshadowed, right? Clyde Burrows from the book, The Biggest Secrets by David Icke, portrayals of the reptilians overshadowing a human being while not actually occupying the body. Burrows produces these illustrations from descriptions by one of countless people, all right, that have met and seen the reptilians in the lower fourth dimension. You get the movie V. It was a movie. Well, there's also a mini-series. This mini-series was going pretty strong. I remember people was excited for the reproduction of this in 2006. And earlier, by 2008, when Barack Obama came in, it got canceled, went off the air. Well, we know that possession is when a spirit or soul hijacked a body, takes over the function and controls the body. The person who is possessed will not be consciously present and will usually have no memory of the possession or of the act that happened while possessed. Right? Ted Gunderson, a man of 28 years experience with the FBI, told a mind control conference in the United States that after long and detailed research, he estimated that 3.75 million practicing Satanists in the United States, between 50 and 60,000 human sacrifices a year. Shit, more. Or shit, almost 300,000 children go missing every damn year. But not all of them are human sacrifices. A lot of them are put on a sex trade or the black market for sex. The sex trade. Right? This is the basic Illuminati structure. We have the Vatican. You have the Queen of England and that so-called fake royal, that fake family. You have the 13 Illuminati or Killuminati blood clans, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Astors, the Bundys, the Collins, the DuPonts, the Morgans, the Lees, the Freemans, the Van Dyne, the Connect, Disney, as well as also, and you have them stretching their tentacles out, Disney also, and McDonald. And you have their tentacles stretching out into all the various areas, all right? Health, right? Food supply, hence land, seed markets, right? Hence Monsanto, that's the branch in which they're utilizing for that shit, right? These are psychopaths that we're dealing with, right? When you get possessed, you are psychopathically attached to entities in which there has no remorse for humanity. Why? Because they was never incarnated to begin with as physical forms. These are just spirits, entities. Some of these entities come through the reptilian portion of the brain, which the reptilian brain is the oldest structure in the brain. Right? You have the reptilian brain, the limbic brain, and the neo-mammal brain, and also your stomach, which is your also your abdominal brain. So these are the four brains. But the reptilian brain is the first brain. So when these spirits attaches there, it can come in the form of a reptilian. But anyway, they're aggressive, callous, and cunning, complete absence of conscience and empathy, very adaptive at manipulating others, especially emotionally, willingness to engage in immoral criminal conduct, willingness to take what they want and do as they please, regardless of who they hurt and wrong, deceptive abilities to appear outwardly benevolence or become in peace, just like these motherfuckers did on, see, we are of peace always, but yet reptilian. Deceptive ability to behave in superficial charming ways to hide purely selfish motives. This is who you're dealing with. Right? Denial will deny their own wrongdoing outright. Lie, pathological lying. And this is who you're dealing with. Although it's impossible to predict if a child can grow up to be a serial killer or someone who's psychopathic, but signs are for this psychopathic behavior is animal torture, prolonged bedwetting, and juvenile pyromania. Criminologists call these symptoms the triad. That's what they call it because of their psychopathic nature. All right? Serial killers do not know how to feel sympathy for others. They learn to simulate normal behavior by observing others, but it is a manipulative act. Henry Lee Lucas describes being a serial killer as being like a movie star. You playing a part. They convert being in a role of authority. Most psychiatrists note that psychopaths cannot be successfully treated. The psychopathic racial personalities and other essays by Dr. Bobby E. Wright. He says this presentation is based upon the following very simple premise. In the relationship with Black races, European whites are psychopaths. Do you know that in the book by David Icke, The Biggest Secrets, he states that light-skinned, so-called white people are the easiest to be possessed by these reptilian entities? So this is why they are more psychopathic, because their pineal gland is calcified and their behavior reflects the underlying biological transmitted proclivity with roots deep in their evolutionary history. Right? Deep evolutionary history. We're going to talk about this tomorrow, right? Because I'm not going to continue on. This is going to be the last two slides. The psychopathic is an individual who is constantly in conflict with other people, persons, or groups. He is unable to experience guilt. He's completely selfish and callous and has a total disregard for the rights of others. This premise is supported by overwhelming scientific evidence. Delaney, 1868, Du Bois, 1896, Fayon, 1963, Garvey, 1967, Francis Quest Welson, 1991, Williams, 1971. This is Dr. Bobby E. Wright. The psychopathic racial personalities. He wrote this in 1971. Get the book African Origin of Biological Psychiatry by Dr. Richard Kings. He states that Africans have 5 to 50% calcified pineal glands, Asians 15 to 25%, and Europeans 60 to 80%. This is why we say they can't feel. But this 40 to 60, this 60 to 80% cannot feel. They can't know your feelings because they are actually psychopaths in the making. Again, the question what to do, there is no evidence that the black and white races can live in close proximity to each other in peace without whites attempting to oppress and exterminate the blacks. In fact, there is overwhelming evidence that even white ethnic groups cannot live together. Irish and English, Greeks and Turks, Arabs and Jews, etc. Behavioral scientists generally agree that there is no known cure for psychopaths. In fact, it is widely held belief that there's only successful treatment for the psychopath is incarceration, radical psychosurgery, which is lobotomized, or death. Therefore, since blacks are at war with psychopaths, violence is the only way. This is at least what Dr. Bobby E. Wright says. That's interesting. He goes on to say, unlike other extreme pathological syndromes, only a very small percentage of psychopaths are committed to mental hospitals, with another small percentage ending up in penal institutions. The majority of psychopaths function very well in society. They are generally average or above average in intelligence and have engaging personalities. In addition, they are usually very impressive and competent, with no feelings or insecurities, anxieties, or any other manifestations of neurosis. They appear to be very honest and humane, but really have no concern or commitment except to their own selfish interests. Psychopaths will consistently make commitments that they have no intention on keeping. The Albions, who sits at the seats, which we find 370 broken treaties amongst the indigenous Aboriginal people, Native Americans, and show great indignation and anger when their integrity is questioned. Blacks in the United States learned their lessons very well during the civil rights confrontation in the 60s. The white sheriffs and judges showed their greatest hostility when blacks began to quote the law to them. This behavior can be seen clearly in the whites' attitude towards black liberation. This is why they didn't want Black Lives Matter. Oh, Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group. Well, get the book by Carol Barnes, writes in Melanin, the Chemical Key to Black Greatness. Melanin gives humans the ability to feel because it is the absorber of all frequencies of energy. Dr. Francis Quest Wilson writes, since melanin is a superior absorber of all energy, it is essential to establish this understanding of God and all energy. The fact that albinos or whites lack melanin may also help to explain why, in the view of many non-white people, they whites lack spirituality and the capacity to tune into and thereby establish justice and promote establish harmony and promote justice. So see, they can't feel and have justice because they do not have substantial amount of melanin. Their pineal gland is calcified, and they are easily possessed by these reptilians from the lower fourth dimension, the first and second overtone of the fourth dimension. All right, so we're going to end right there for the night. I know y'all got a mouthful, so we're going to come back tomorrow and finish it on up. Continuing now for days, weeks, and months and years to come. We're moving towards our most cherished goals of health, wealth, knowledge of ourselves, all good things, full contentment, and better economic conditions. Every action, enterprise, and endeavor in which that we wish to be involved is bringing increasing rewards. We have so much success and abundance that we're able to help, share, and give to those who are sincere along the way. We are experiencing more and more happiness and joy in our life, much more frequently. We're moving closer towards the oneness of God and Goddess and the full release of our higher inner selves. Ashe. All right. We out, y'all. We love y'all. Yo, we appreciate y'all. Oh, Johnny Boy's son. Oh, word gave 1440. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, God. Jemediah Elohim gave 19. Appreciate that, God. Much appreciation for those super chats. We need every bit. All right, and we're going to keep it moving. And also remember, like and subscribe. Go to the website, www.dralimlbey.com. Make sure that you hit us up. Make sure you subscribe now. We need to see them likes. We need to see them comments. All right, get your book, First World Order, also Divine Akhenaten from the website. All right, or either call us at 910-364-9099. That's 910-364-9099, or hit us up on the website. All right. And also the conference, remember September the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd is going to be right here in North Carolina. It's going to be right in Henderson. It's going to be right here. And you're going to come on down and get some of the most explosive information. If you think that this shit is deep that we've been doing for the last month, you ain't heard nothing yet. All right. So come on down. Come on down. All right. So we out, y'all. Peace. We love y'all.